It was 12 teams, man. And like I had to find, usually I just put them at the bottom, but I had to like find places to put them. Like, I was running out of room on this graph because there's so much information. I'm trying to make sure I got it all out there.
Really, 12 teams.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to go through it, I mean, he started with the Pikes, then went to the Saarland Hurricanes, New Yorker Lions, Cologne Falcons, the Stallions, the H Stallions in Denmark. Horsen Stallions. And then you got the Seinäjoki Crocodiles here in Finland. And then you went back to the States and played with the Bloomington Edge. I couldn't get any stats from...
That was a short stint, too, with Edge.
Yeah. And then you came back to Finland, Hamelina Huskies. And then you settled down in Denmark with the Razorbacks. Y'all go to playoffs 3 years in a row, win a championship, go to 2 championships, and then you were in the quarterfinals, probably about to go back to another championship. And then go to Barcelona Dragons, where you guys, I think y'all season got cut short in 2020.
Yeah, Corona.
Yeah, and then you went to Sweden after that, where you did win another championship. I think you played like the last 2 games or last game of the season for them.
That was last year, yeah. So last year, I went to Drax, exactly. Yeah. And because the Danish season starts, a little bit after, I missed like 2 games, I think I missed 2 games. And Corona got cut, or Corona came, so I had to go back, or I went back to Denmark. And then Corona ended our season in Denmark too. And then Sweden, reached out, crossed that. And then I was like, all right.
Yeah, 3 seasons. Pretty much.
Yeah, last year was wild.
3 teams. Yeah, a lot of traveling considering Corona. And then this year, you're again playing with Barcelona Dragons during the regular season for the Spanish League. Guys are heading to the playoffs now. And then the big meet of this year is going to be you playing for the ELF team. Is it Barcelona or Barcelona Dragons?
Barcelona, yeah.
Barcelona Dragons. I know they changed the team name a couple times. But yeah, man,
that's good work. Love it.
You made it worth it. You made that trip. You've done a lot of traveling. But I guess we can get into it now. Again, this is kind of how we do the show. It's not as like super structured as some of these other segments, but we just want to talk to you, man. That's what we're here for, international locker room talk. And the first topic today is we want to talk about, the responsibilities of import players as well as coaches. And what we wanted to ask you, of course, with you being almost everywhere and getting a taste of it all, is do you feel like coaches are, held to the same standard that a lot of import players are held to when it comes to, being a coach or being an import coach here in Europe on these different teams and different levels?
Good question. I think coaches are held to a higher standard. I believe so. Because imports, you can get the right import, you get the wrong import, It depends. Imports, some of them have a hard time to adapt really fast to the European culture. It's just a little bit different. And some do it. But it goes the same way with coaches, So the faster they adapt, coach or player, the better your career is going to be too, I truly believe, in Europe. You're going to make your way around. But I think as a coach, you always have to hold yourself to a higher standard because you're not just coaching, import players as well. You're coaching the whole team, a whole organization. It's basically on your back. So you kind of got to do the right things for the whole club in that sense. You know what I mean? As an import player, you get brought in to help the team win. So, you maybe can get away with something, like little things if you fucked up. And there's been a couple of scenarios, I've witnessed, but as a coach, if you do something, you can't get away with that. Like there's no.
That's why I wanted to ask you. Have you seen a couple years ago there was a huge underlying situation where a lot of coaches were being fired after like 1 or 2 seasons, and with the import players, you might not make it through the season. There's players who you there 2-3 weeks and they send you home because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. But when it comes to the coaches, they're given a little bit longer, but at the same time, turning an entire organization around and only having 1 year or a couple of months before the season to do it. Do you see that being something that a lot of teams are doing? I don't want to say wrong, but differently. Like some teams are having a lot of coaching changes, while we've all seen the teams that are doing better keep their coaches. But is it something that you think teams are doing, in Europe right now when it comes to the coaching situation?
It's a really, I mean, when it comes to coaching Europe, we all know there's like a big gap. That's in general, that's just for domestic coaches or any coach coming from the US, for example, as an imported coach, And I don't I don't think there's no right answer for that, to be honest. There is no right answer because teams, most of the times, if they have recommendations from another coach or players, they might get lucky and get the right coach, character-wise, right way to coach it, all these players. But you might get a bad one too that just, old school mentality maybe, that doesn't want to adapt to the players he has and has a system that runs in the States, you know what I mean? Like you have all these collegiate athletes, you can pick and choose and run the scheme you want to run as a coach. But sometimes not sometimes, but that don't work as much coming to Europe if you have a scheme, but you don't have these players to run this scheme, but you want to stick with that. So I think some American coaches, import coaches run into this, false narrative that they come here, of course, they have more knowledge. they grew up in the US, they were college coaches, all this information, football information, but come to Europe and adapt, and it's more like, okay, I don't have these numbers of players that I'm trying to run a powerhouse. I ain't got O-linemen that bench press 150 kilos, or
you can't run no huddle. People gonna die out here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you see it too. The good coaches that adapt to that know how to adapt to their players and try to figure out a scheme to match their player skill set. Those are the coaches that last longer in Europe, for example. And other coaches just don't. And as an import player, I don't know personally, and I, hold myself to that standard. I just want to be the best player I can be to be able to help my team in any situation to come out, with the win on top, no matter what the situation is with coaching, for example. So as an import player, I still need to keep a leveled head, no matter if everything's going wrong on the other end. But I need to be, the teammate and the leader that I try to be myself to help the team win. So it kind of goes hand in hand. If you have both, if you have import players and coaches that are on the same page and that have the same kind of vision for the team and that, that move together, it is easier to then, win the championship. But you also have incidents where import players maybe don't get along with the coach or the coach's philosophy. And then if you run into that, then it's like already secure that it's probably 90%, 80% that like either the import's gonna get sent home or they're gonna try to run the season through, but you're not gonna come out on top because the chemistry and the whole team is now messed up, So I just try to, anytime I play with imports or coaches, like I'm a coach's player. So, and most of the coaches I've played for great coaches, great people, great men. So I always go about what coach said and what he needs me to do, I'll do it. And, just sometimes you get imports that just don't ride with that like that much. So it's like you got to find a little niche to make everything work for the team to be successful at the end. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So kind of a two-part question then. Do you feel like, one, coaches have like too much power in terms of, when they can or when they have to make those decisions on the import, whether it's keeping them or getting a new one and shipping them on one home? And the second question is do you feel like the organization should be more involved with not only the import players, but the import coaches in terms of the accountability aspect?
So the first question with coaches, like being more responsible for imports. Let's just say, for example, and this, I don't do this, but let's take New England Patriots. You got Bill Belichick, great coach, and he takes care of his imports too. The thing is, if you have a coach, domestic coach, or a coach that has been with the program for years and has established something, this coach knows exactly which type of import he needs to get the job done. So you can't knock that. So a coach that has, been in the program and knows exactly what he needs and which player, he's going to sign that player. Now, if he's going to send him home, should he have the power to send him home and all that? I can't really speak on that. I would say it's an organizational thing. Like it should go. I mean, the coach signed him maybe, or like the organization decided to sign him through the coach. So I believe if there's like any, disconnect or coach doesn't get along with that imported player, that it still should go by the organization to figure out a way to either make it work or, okay, it doesn't work for the coach and for us as an organization. Because at the end of the day, like people are, changing their lives.
Yeah.
Imports, it's not just easy to leave your home country, or wherever your family and friends and come to another country and play the sport you love. But then you're kind of in a mixed situation where maybe the things that you want to do or wanted to do are not happening. So it's a tough one being imported coach to. You got to get lucky. Sometimes
I gotta stop you, Niko, because you said some things, and again on the scoop, we're trying to keep it real, relaxed, and real out here. So you're telling me that after we didn't talked on this earlier, that you've been playing for over 10 years on 12 different teams, that you ain't never had no situation where you come in and you like, okay, this guy that's in charge, you don't know what you're doing. But I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
Man, we've all been on that situation. That's why I'm saying, that's why I say I hold myself to a standard, because I cannot let a coach or something that I know, damn, maybe this guy ain't doing what he's supposed to do, or his behavior is wrong. At the end of the day, for myself, I can't let that negativity or that type of stuff affect my game and also my teammates' game. But of course, we have all been there. Every input has been in an organization with a crazy coach, or a coach that knows it all, or a coach that doesn't know anything really. It's normal in Europe. You go run into teams like that and organizations that do, weird things. But as a player, that's why I used to be a coach and player at the same time. But I can't do that, because if I'm coaching, I can't be yelling at you on the field while I'm on the field with you fucking up, maybe. That's where I'm at. No, I'll just play. That way I'm not running with I don't care for, which coach I play, as long as I'm playing with the guys around me and the coach is kind of doing his thing. But if he's not too, I will also let him know most of the time, hey, coach, we need to, I don't think this is the right move here. But I don't step on no coach's toes like that. You ain't lying, Pervis. There's some organizations out here and some coaches that really don't know what they do. No, it's a fact. And that's just something, that's why I was saying the biggest gap is the coaching in Europe. And you get good ones, and you get bad apples. That's just.
I think the last thing I want to say before we move on, when it comes to that, the topic was are coaches held to a higher standard? I think when it comes to looking at Europe as a whole, if you look at teams that are winning and being successful both on and off the field, they have an organizational structure in place, and that coach is a part of it. And of course, players, they're the ones who play the games. But I know, Jamal, it's a lot easier as a player when you come into a situation where even if you don't agree with the coach, you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he has set a standard. It's not about him being a good coach or not being competent. If a coach says, hey, we're going to line up in the wing T, and this is what we're going to run, and it's because we're doing this, this, and this, I'm going to look at him like, okay, that don't make sense to me, but you got a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
I can ride with that.
And we either gotta be all in with it, or it ain't gonna work. Yep. Whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah, with coaches, that's the standard. I think that we're trying to say that they need to have is that a coach needs to have that standard. Even if it's a new coach, he has to come in and say hey, this is how we're doing stuff.
He has to make people believe it. He has to make the team believe he knows what he's talking about, and this is what he's gonna do. He has to be the leader. That's what I'm saying. Some teams, but like you say, you're right too. The organizational structure is right, and the coach, is in there and adapted, or is with it. Then it's easier as an imported player to come to an organization and just, all right, this is how it's done. And I'm part of this, and I'm gonna rock with it.
Have you checked out K Noah's Ready to Wear collection? It's K Noah's top-notch quality, but it's teamwear made custom for you and your team, so you can rep your squad now. Okay, here we go. That's it for us today on The Scoop. Keeping the locker room talk real. As always, I want to thank our guest, Niko Lester, today. Of course, man, you're one of my favorites, so it's always great to have you on. Glad you could take the time and, kick it with us and chop it up and talk sports, talk football. That's what we're talking. We talk football and life. We're talking football and life. Just want to let you know, man, that, we're rooting for you. I've already said it on this before, but, I'm very personally invested in seeing you play at the highest level in Europe this year and be able to, get the roses from the rest of the world outside of just me. So we wish you the best, man, and whatever you got going outside of football as well. You know, you are more than just a football player to us. We know that you are a man. You have things going on, and just wish you nothing but the best in your future, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on. All the words, especially like I said, go back to the statistics. I've never kept track of stats, so I got to put it out there again. Great work for that too. I might have to screenshot it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay,
no problem. It's easy.
And no, it was all love talking to y'all. I really appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, we appreciate it, boss. I mean, you got any excited for what the future holds? But you got any shout outs or any projects you're working on outside of football?
I think I'll keep that, keep that to myself right now.
Yeah.
I don't really I don't talk too much on process what I'm working on, Try to keep
you good, boss.
Yeah. But no, shout out to the ELF, shout out to Barcelona Dragons, by the way. About to head into the semifinal. And shout out to all the listeners on the scoop. That's mainly everything, bro.
All right,
yes, man. Yes, sir.
Anything else from you, Jamal?
I'm good, man.
All right. So thanks for watching the show on YouTube or listening to the podcast outlet. Be sure to subscribe to the Athletes Forum YouTube channel or American Football in Finland's podcast channel. That podcast is on like 85 different outlets. So wherever you get your podcast, just click it. And on YouTube, just type in The Scoop Athletes Forum, and we're going to pop up. I promise you, because we out here, okay? Subscribe to either outlet, follow us on those, and you'll get the updates every week, video or audio. Whenever we publish, you'll get a little, notification and stuff. You can also follow us on Twitter at The Scoop AF, on Instagram at Athletes Forum, or on Facebook at Athletes Forum. And also by following us on all these channels, you have a chance to win teamwear swag provided by our sponsor at K Noah. Be sure to follow instructions for the contest below in the description, and also on the audio, it'll be in the description, the contest rules. So that's it for us, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.